What is up, you guys? It is Monty, and today I am back again once again with the start of another video. I feel like I have been letting the main channel low-key die. Like, I feel like my main channel has turned into a, hey, I'm doing some reading sprint situation, which part of me is not too upset about, not gonna lie. Like, part of me, not mad about it. The other part of me does feel a little guilty. And I also feel a tad bit lazy because I have been making content. The patrons, they got an exclusive reading vlog like they always do in October. So they got that video. Then I've already given them the November reading vlog. So we had some Elena Armis that I read last weekend. They got me talking about that. Then I read The Weight of Blood for a secret project. So the main channel is getting fed. I have a secret vlog that I'm working on. I've already read 4 things for it. So stuff is happening, but I read The Weight of Blood for that project, and I'm not going back and forth with y'all on the internet about The Weight of Blood. I refuse to do it. Don't drag me into that conversation. I have taken myself out. So my thoughts on that are over behind the paywall. It's $3 to join. You get one monthly reading vlog, and usually a Friday reads that has been an audio only situation. And then sometimes you get like an extra video, like they had an extra video when I reread my Taylor Jenkins read. I discussed my reread thoughts, the connections I was seeing, and I talked about Carrie Soto exclusively over there. And then of course, like, got The Weight of Blood, because I'm not going back and forth with y'all about The Weight of Blood. So there's that. At some point, I do plan on getting back to giving y'all at least a wrap up. And maybe, I can't promise y'all a reading vlog every month. I just can't do that. It's not in my spirit to do so. But you are going to get 2 this month, because again, you have that secret project. And then I've decided that I'm going to do I'm doing a weekend situation. So it is Friday at 1:19. I'm currently in the parking lot of the library. My hold on Pretty Dead Queens by Alexa Dunn has come in. So I'm going to go get that because it's in my TBR for this video. I've decided I want to read it, so I'm going to read it. Is this a good idea? I don't know. Have I liked an Alexa Dunn book? I have not. I have not. Brightly Burning was not for me. But I do think that Brightly Burning wasn't for me because it was just not very good. But also, I've discovered that I don't like Jane Eyre. I'm not a Jane Eyre girly. Have I read Jane Eyre? No. But at the same time that I read Brightly Burning, which is a Jane Eyre retelling in space, I read Jane by, it's like a graphic novel adaptation by, it was like a screenwriter, but she did this little graphic novel version of it. It's like McKenna, Broche McKenna is the last name. I think her first name starts with an A. I'm sorry, girl. I'm sorry. But I did not like that either. So I think me and Jane Eyre we're not good. But I thought The Ivies was going to be for me. It was kind of like a YA thriller moment. It was giving, college cheating scandal. It was giving messy best friend group. It was giving boarding school. All of those tick my boxes. And I listened to the audiobook as I was driving across the great state of Arizona. And if I hadn't been driving across the great state of Arizona, I don't know if I would have kept listening. But when it was just me and this car and the Arizona scenery, I said, I can't do, actually, it was on my way back, so it was like raining. It was not a good look, but was not a fan. I gave that book like 1, maybe 1.5 stars. It wasn't for me. Pretty Dead Queens is going to be 3 strikes and you're out. So I'm going to go grab that. Then I think I want to finish Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood, because I still have that audiobook. My hold on Below Zero, that audiobook came in, so I might finish off the trifecta there. So we have a novel and 2 romance novellas. I also have checked out For the Throne, which I put on my Instagram stories that I said I was going to read this weekend. Probably not. Blood Marked, the sequel to Legendborn. That might be a standalone video. I might read it this weekend, but I'm going to make a standalone vlog for that that'll go probably in December or some other time in the future, so I have just like content on standby. And then Anon Please by Dumas. I don't speak French. By the little Gossip Girl Instagram person. So I might read though. That might get in the list because it's like under 300 pages. So it's a pretty ambitious. It's ambitious, right? But working in my corner are some reading sprints. So tonight, Jesse from Bow Ties and Books is hosting reading sprints. So I will be over there doing the reading. Hopefully we're doing the reading. Hopefully I don't dismantle. So we're doing reading over there. And then my plan already, like from jump, was to spend my Saturday back at the Starbucks because that was very beneficial to me last weekend when I was doing the reading. I went to Starbucks, had my little coffee, sat on my little chair, brought my little book. It was very aesthetic. So I might do that again. And then Sunday, I'm probably gonna lay at home. So I'm not gonna promise you're gonna get a ton of B-roll, a ton of like me out and about living my life. But you might get a little teensy bit. We'll see. But for now, I'm gonna go and I will check back in when I have an update about a book.
Okay, so I think I have figured out, when I say figured out, I think I have a limit. I was talking to you guys like you're the patrons, but the patrons know over there that I have been going through it with the audio and that I have been fucking up and sounding like I'm underwater. I think that has been resolved. So now that it's been resolved, I can come and update you guys successfully about Anon Please, because I've read the first 200 pages of this. And what I didn't know, I'm gonna need those in a second, is that it was like co-written with Jessica Goodman. I'm assuming it's this Jessica Goodman, but there is nothing to confirm that other than with Jessica Goodman. These are also, no, Razor Bill is Penguin. So I'm assuming it's this Jessica Goodman though. If it's not this Jessica Goodman, apologies, but I think it is this one. Anyway, this is, what I didn't know is that one, it's in first person, and two, the character in this, Cricket Lopez, is in the universe of the book. They are also running the Dumas Instagram anonymous account, and so didn't expect that going into this. Not really sure how to feel about that, but you know, it is what it is at this point. And I think that's kind of where it's losing me. I will say that it is giving a little bit of Gossip Girl. It is giving a little Gossip Girl, but it's giving the Gossip Girl that is currently airing on HBO Max that I am still watching and still tuning in for. Don't get me wrong, but it is giving a little raggedy. I don't care about the little teacher lady, just like I don't care about this little Dumas person, because it's just, I feel like what makes Pretty Little Liars and the, like, even though I don't really care about the teacher lady out here exposing secrets, at least they're like very targeted, and this is just like random bits of information that I really just don't care about these people. Like, I don't need them to be made real for me. I feel like celebrities are, you know, they're doing what they need to do. So I want the more salaciousness, and this book is kind of giving that. Like, there is this plot line of like maybe Cricket Lopez is about to get exposed and she's exposing this Army Hammer dupe person. The book includes like real celebrities and facsimiles that you could like map onto other people. Like, there's a character in the book, Kayla, who was like giving Britney Spears, and this Duke person who was giving Army Hammer. But then people like Justin Bieber, Charles Melton, Sydney Sweeney are all name dropped, even though they don't really appear in the book. It's, and according to like the author at the beginning, is to lend like an authentic feel to the story, which I think is appropriate, and I think that it's accurate, and I think that it is doing that. But overall, the book itself is mediocre. Like, I think this is a very solid 3-star endeavor, and I appreciate that, and I'm having a good time with that. But at the same time, I was going into this expecting a little bit more. It is kind of giving me the Stylist by Rosie Nixon, which was more like Stylist Comes to America. It veered into this like women's fiction romancy moment, and so does this. To a degree, it's venturing there, probably because this is a William Morrow endeavor, right? Am I correct? Yes, it's a William Morrow endeavor, which is also the publisher behind The Stylist by Rosie Nixon. They're same imprint, same company. So there's that. I have also read The Devil Wears Prada, which is also brought up in this, probably because Cricket Lopez is the assistant to a stylist. The Devil Wears Prada, the book, is horrible. Don't read that book. But if you want to watch the movie, you need a refresher, go watch the movie. It's an excellent time. It differs from the book, and it improves. It improves upon the source material in ways that make Andy Sachs an actually compelling main protagonist. That was kind of redundant, main character. So overall, this book with Cricket Lopez and her starting this like gossip tip Instagram is fine. It's whatever. It's an enjoyable enough experience. We've done one sprint. We're in the middle of our, not the middle. We just started our second sprint, and the book is 280 some odd pages, and I've read 200 pages in about an hour and a half. So overall, this weekend is off to a pretty good start. So that's really all I have to say about this. I ended the last time I tried to record this by saying that I probably won't do another like standalone update for this book. I'm probably going to move on to something else. And when I have things to update you on about that, I will come back and talk about my final thoughts on this. But right now, I think it's going to be a 3-star.
What is up? I feel like this is actually the worst spot to park in, but it is what it is. I'm here. I'm going to talk to y'all. We're going to do a little moment in the car before I go in to Starbucks. So, as I stated last night, I did finish A Non Please by Dumas. It don't matter. This person just made some shit up. Anyway, sorry to the French. Actually, I'm not sorry to the French out there. This is so messy. Anyway, this is like a novelization of how said person came to like run this Instagram account that has like 2 million followers roughly. And if I had known like that's all it was going to be, I probably would not have picked this up, because I don't think this is actually a compelling read. I don't think it's all that interesting, because it's very mundane. Like, the main character in this, Cricket Lopez, is a very whatever person. In my Goodreads review, I listed several books that I thought were all better. Also, it's probably a little controversial that I'm even giving this book some like clout on the channel, because right now HarperCollins, like, their little union is like striking, trying to get, you know, an actual livable wage, and they're asking people not to talk about books that HarperCollins is publishing. But sorry, we're here now. We have crossed the picket line. But I am telling you guys not to read this book, so like maybe it's solidarity, I don't know. Sorry to the people. But all of the books that I listed were also published by William Morrow, and I think they're better. So like The Stylist by Rosie Nixon is a better book. Counterfeit by Kirsten Chen is a better book. What is the name of that? It's like right. Anyway, it's in my Goodreads review. Like, all of those books are far better than this, and they are.
Here's what I found.
Siri, no one be asking questions. Anyway, like, all of those are better books, and I think they're all more worth your time than like this. Like, I don't like this. This isn't a fun time. It's not messy. It doesn't actually engage in what it's like if you were to run. I mean, obviously, I don't know what it's like to run this page, and the person who does obviously does. It's like, there were elements of this that I could understand, but at every turn, it was giving HBO Max's Gossip Girl, but like not even as good. Because as raggedy as Kate Keller is trying to be a modern day Dan Humphrey and A from Pretty Little Liars both understood that if you were going to use gossip and like weaponize it, that it had to, like, you actually had to weaponize it. Like, blind items are cute, but I personally do not give a fuck about a blind item. There's like, the third act kind of revolves around this celebrity. I think I talked about this last night, being outed as like this Army Hammer situation where in this book, the person like thinks they're a vampire, and he's abused a number of women and given them marks all across their neck, and is like real raggedy, much like Army Hammer thought he was a fucking cannibal and was like talking about killing women. It was real weird, sir. I shouldn't laugh, it's very serious. So like, the third act of this, it's like that. There's also the situation where there's like a romance subplot. Like, this book, I think, just doesn't know what it wants to do. And if Dumas had like actually published a real memoir about this and how they came to do what they do, like a real expose on themselves, it would have been far more interesting than following Cricket, who was just pathetic at every turn and was giving major Kate Keller vibes. And ain't nobody on God's green earth like Kate Keller. Like, ain't nobody. Sorry, Tavi. I think that's the actress's name. Ain't no one like Kate Keller. I do feel bad for Tavi, though, because I got her out here playing a fucking teacher, and she younger than some of the students. Anyway, that's not why y'all are here. This is a pass. Don't read this book. Then we have a book I don't know how to talk about, and that is Pretty Dead Queens by Alexa Dunn. I do know that Alexa Dunn is subscribed to my channel. Does she watch my content? I don't know. I would assume that because I'm talking about her book, she's not clicking on this video, but maybe she is. I don't know. This, I think, was easily the best book she's written. Like not like far and away, 5 stars, run away, get it done. But it was at least a compelling book. Like it was easy to read. It was fun to read. I wanted to keep going. I don't think that it does anything super inventive. I don't think it does anything where it's like twists and turns and like you're on the edge of your seat, but that's fine with me. I like a thriller where maybe some readers are going to guess who did it very quickly, but other readers like me who are not playing detective get to like enjoy the story and get a third act that doesn't have 12 different twists and turns. What ruined the Ivies for me was the ending. I thought the ending was very messy, where it was like, this is the killer, no, this is the killer, actually, this is the... It was doing too much for me personally. For what I like, for what I want, I didn't like it. There was some stuff there. Here, I think, again, it is much more straightforward, and so, like, maybe that's going to be an issue for people, but I'm not here to play detective. You know, I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, a mystery, a thriller is supposed to be entertainment, and I was entertained. So I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, and I kind of stand by that. Like, it's not revolutionary. I don't think it's changing the game, but I do think it was a solid book. Both of these, this one more, they feel very weird to drop at the end of the year. I think this was also a November release. What does it say? Yeah, November 10th is when it was acquired by my library, at least. And this was acquired on the 8th. And usually the little sticker here is a publication date in my limited experience with my library system. So both of the, like, this one, like, at least kind of gives, like, back to school. It's set in October, so, like, fall vibes are present. This feels like a kind of a book that you're supposed to read in the spring, the kind of book that you take with you to the pool to lay outside. Like, they're both very unserious. And so, like, again, like, this is set in October. It's like homecoming season. It's back to school time. So, like, I can understand you curling up by a fireplace, you know, in the fall time and reading this. But both of these feel like they're unserious to a degree. They're here for a good time, not necessarily a long time. So you should, you know, read them by the pool, on a nice little picnic blanket, you know, like out in the sun where the weather is nice. So maybe the people in the southern hemisphere is for y'all, because I understand. I think it's fall for us, so that's what, like, your spring, I think it's summer, however seasons work. I'm not a meteorologist. So I read both of these. So far the weekend is off to a decent start. I think I don't know what I rated Dumas. I want to say it was like maybe like a 2 on my spreadsheet. And I don't know if I rated it on Goodreads. And then, like I said, Pretty Dead Queens. I guess this way is better. Pretty Dead Queens that I just dropped, I gave 3 stars. So I'm at Starbucks. My plan is to kind of just rest and relax for a little bit. And just wanted to get out of my apartment, you know, stretch my legs, you know, be out in the wilderness. I don't know why I said the wilderness. We're not in the fucking wilderness. It's a Starbucks. But I do have my headphones. I have my phone that I'm recording this little clip on. So I might pick up Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood as I drink my coffee and, like, be in public. But who knows? Who knows if I'm actually going to pick up Stuck With You. I might not. But I will check in at some point in the future when I have things to say. I feel like the sun is not on my side today, but it is what it is. I have finished 2 things. So I finished Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood. That is the green one. If you don't know, I'm going to try and, like, throw up a picture, but, you know, editing Monty, he gonna do what he gonna do. So Stuck With You is the second STEMinist novella where they are stuck in an elevator, hence Stuck With You. This is also the one where I was like, it was giving Hitler's Chosen Child. I will say that it eventually petered out, but I also want to say that I feel like this is the least romance novella of the bunch, because it just kind of goes nowhere a little bit. So here we have our 2 main characters, Sadie, I want to say is her name, and Mr. Viking, don't know his name. So we have our little brunette. I want to say her name is Sadie, but maybe it's not. So we have Sadie, who is like an environmental engineer. She, like, does bridges and shit, so that's what kind of engineering she does. But she works at this small firm where they try to like use things that are not going to like really fuck over the environment. Like, it's very eco-friendly. It's eco lifestyle from The Sims, if you will. And so she has this big pitch meeting. She has a big pitch meeting, and in order for her pitch to be successful, she believes that she has to go get this little croissant, and this is where she meets Mr. Viking Man. They run into one another. We find out that they spend that day together. They go back to his house. They hook up. Mind you, this is told in like flashbacks and flash forwards for them being stuck in this elevator. Then eventually we discover that the reason that they're enemies to lovers in this little novella is that Sadie believes that Mr. Viking Man stole clients from her, because while they were spending the day together in the past, she talked about the pitch and she gave details about the pitch, and she's like, this is my dissertation. I want to say that this is like a lot of information for somebody that you're just meeting. Maybe I just don't be going out like that, but like bringing up your dissertation, the intimate details of your pitch, all of this, then getting fucked like a Twinkie, all of this feels like a lot of shit to be going through when you've known this person for one day. This is kind of my issue with the whole novella thing, is that like all of these feel like pitches that Ellie Hazelwood gave somebody, and then she just never wrote the full book. And then her book blew up on TikTok, and her editors and everyone at Penguin and Berkeley was like, hey, we need some more content. We need some more content from you. And she was like, bet. And so here are these little pitches that I didn't really get around to like finishing the draft of, but I can make them novellas. I don't think they work. And I think that Stuck With You really becomes like, it's almost more erotica than like an actual romantic journey, because most of the book is them fucking in the past, them kind of talking in the present. And then I would say there's like another sex scene, but that sex scene might have been from the one from them in the past, because again, we're going back and forth. Overall, I didn't like this one. I didn't like this one at all. I thought that it was just a little too convoluted. It was a little too much reliant on miscommunication, especially for a novella where there's not enough time to iron it out or for the miscommunication to even happen. Because again, like, yeah, so I don't like this one. And I was really sad because this one does have one of my favorite things where I'm like, I always, at least in romance, and especially in like things that are series, at some point it's always like, oh, you're the cousin of my best friend, or you're my, you know, I know you, I grew up with you, and like, so it's weird for us to be fucking, or, you know, all of these things that are like realistic. I'm sure like plenty of people marry somebody they went to high school with, or they met in college. Like, those people exist, but I just really like to see two random people, you know, meet and get together. And I like that here. Like, I liked everything about their hookup aspect, but it was once it became like, oh, you stole clients and I hate you. It was too much. It was too much for me. So I didn't rate this one, just like I didn't rate Under One Roof, because I didn't like either one of them. I thought they were pretty bad. So that was that. Then I listened to Below Zero. That's the blue one. And this is easily the best book. Easily the best one in the series. I will say it has me in the first third of the book and like the last part of the book are really good. There's this part in the middle where it was giving Stalker. So Below Zero is the story of Hannah and Ian. And Hannah is going to work at NASA. She grew up being a very average student, but there was this kid in high school who was like trying to flirt with her, and it like sparked her interest in science, and then it sparked this interest in wanting to work in like the Mars missions, and she wants to, you know, work with unmanned people, things on. Anyway, that's what like sparked her thing. And so I feel like Hannah is like the most real, I don't want to say most realistic, but I feel like she was like the furthest departure from an Ellie Hazelwood heroine that we've had. She was giving like, I could probably be friends with Hannah and I wouldn't want to claw my eyes out. She was that kind of a girl, and I liked that about her. So during her graduate studies and her trying to get her PhD, eventually she had to like have an interview with somebody who works in the field that she is like going for. And that's how she runs into Ian, because Ian is an estranged family member of Mara, which of course, but you know what? It's the third book in a series. And before this, none of these people had really been into like the friend group of Haiti, Haiti, of Mara, Sadie, and Hannah had been established, but they hadn't really interacted. And so, like, that was fine. And Ian being Mara's cousin that didn't really get along with one another or whatever, like, that was fine too. And so Hannah and Ian, they meet, they have this interview, and because of who Hannah is, she's a confident girl, she's doing what she wants to do. She and Ian get hot and heavy in his office at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And I was like, you know what? I like this. I like this a lot. Thank you. And I was eating it up. This one also does stuff in the future and the past, but not as much. Like, Under One Roof and Stuck With You did it a little bit differently, because every chapter in Under One Roof was like closer to the present, which was the prologue in that book. So there was a lot of flashbacks, but they were steadily getting closer to the present. Stuck With You, we would go back and forth from them being stuck in this elevator to them in the past at the little cafe place that they ran into one another. Below Zero, we get the initial flashback, which is kind of what we get in a regular Ali Hazelwood novel. Like The Love Hypothesis, you get the scene with Olive and Adam in the bathroom. And then I want to say Love on the Brain, you get a couple of flashbacks to B and Levi. Was it Levi in that one? I don't remember. Was he a Liam? There's a Liam in here somewhere. But B, I think it was Levi. But B and Levi, I think we get a flashback to them in grad school. But here, the Below Zero book, we get the one flashback, and we're firmly in the present. We just make references to that first interaction, which is why I feel like Below Zero could have been a good book. Like, I do think that Below Zero could have been like a full-length book, and it would have been so good, and I would have been so happy. But instead, we get this part in the middle where after they get hot and heavy in his office, we discover that, like, Hannah is really not interested in being a tied-down girl. She wants a good time, not a long time. And so Ian was trying to ask her out to dinner, and Hannah said no, because she don't do dinner. She wants to fuck, which good for her. Good for her. Because so many of Ali Hazelwood's like heroines, they want to fuck, but they don't ever say they want to fuck. And it'd be a little annoying. But Hannah was like, no, I want to fuck, please. And Ian was like, no, I'm like a good traditional guy. I don't want to do all that. I want to be with you. And if I can't be with you, then, like, I'm not really interested in going back to my place with you. So we go forward to the present, and Hannah is working at NASA now, and she has this pitch that she is trying to get funded or whatever. There's like some extra money, and she's like, hey, yeah, I think that we should do this. It would really help with the Martian drone mission or whatever. And it gets rejected. And she goes to a different person, and this person is like, hey, I got your back. Ian was tripping because this is a really good idea. Let's do it. And this is where she finds herself in the Arctic, because I guess certain conditions are similar or whatever. And this is also where we get to the weird stocky part, because Ian saves Hannah in the Arctic. She gets into this accident and he saves her, but Ian was not supposed to be there. So, like, Ian went out of his way to leave his office in NASA, took vacation time at the same exact time that Hannah would be doing this mission, so he could be there to save her in case something went wrong, because he didn't trust the guy that gave her the funding, like, that found the extra money. And it was just like, in a full-length novel, this would probably be good, but as it was written in this novella, it was like, we were in their office, we see her not get rejected, we see her, you know, find this other source of money for this project, and then we are suddenly in the Arctic, and she's dying in this crevasse, and it's just like, how did things escalate so quickly? Like, how do we jump from A to B? And I feel like with the novel, we could have seen that a little bit more, but it was really just like whiplash. And then Ian was there, and it was revealed that he didn't have no business being there. And it was giving stalker vibes, just serious stalker vibes. But it was easily the best one in the series. Like, I still gave it 3 stars. Like, I had to knock it down because of the stalker vibes, because up until then, it was like a 4-star book. Like, 4 stars. It was just as good as Love on the Brain for me. So maybe it's something about NASA. Maybe I'm a NASA girly, and so when Ali Hazelwood writes about NASA, it works. But I also felt like there weren't any, like, weird things that be in an Ali Hazelwood book. Like, sometimes I'd be reading an Ali Hazelwood, and I'm just kind of like, I feel like this is a little suspect. it's giving a little bit Margaret Mitchell. It's it's giving a little bit white supremacy, but not in Below Zero. So Below Zero, I think, is the only book worth reading in this little trilogy. Is the one that would have best benefited from being a full-length novel, even though all of them would have. And if you only are interested in like trying one, I say this one. This one has like the least number of, I think it's like ratings. I don't know. I didn't track to see if it was like ratings or reviews that is least, but like obviously the first one has like 70 some odd thousand, and then this one has like 50 some odd thousand, I want to say, Below Zero. And I understand that they weren't released all at once. There was like a little stagger to their release, and then they're digital only, so you can only get them on audio or for Kindle. But the bind up is coming out next year, so like you'll be able to have the whole collection if you wait and get the paperback. But either way, I do think that Below Zero is the only good one. It is also the only time we get to see the entire friend group come together. So Hannah and Mara and Sadie have a scene in this book, and they get to be friends, and it feels like a little full circle moment, because before then, I think in Under One Roof, we had them on FaceTime, and then Stuck With You, because of how the book was set up, it wasn't as prevalent there. But yeah, Below Zero is the only good one. So I'll check back in later with what I decide to read.
What is up, you guys? This is just me coming in to tell you that there's no more books. I read 4 things. I talked about those 4 things. And there's nothing else. I did not read yesterday at all. When I got back from Panera, I started my rewatch of Criminal Minds, because even though I just finished it, I decided I want to continue on with it. So I went back to season 1. I'm almost done with season 1 now. So there's that. But there's no more books. I read 4 things over the weekend. That felt like more than enough. And that's what I got. So hopefully you were able to enjoy this video. And I enjoyed making it. But I got to get back focusing on the month-long vlog that I'm filming that'll hopefully be out 2 weeks from today. But yeah, I'll see you guys then. But until then, and until next time, bye.